At the beginning of the story, we are shown a very smart boy named Arian who lives in a small village in Africa. Arian is very fond of making new things. One day, he runs to his farmer father and shows him a new invention of his. Arian takes the batteries out of the radio. But the surprising thing was, even after taking out the batteries, the sound was coming from the radio completely clearly. Seeing this, his father becomes happy. Arian immediately explains to him that this is wind power energy. He tells him that if we spin the blades quickly, electricity can be produced. Arian had a very big plan. He says that if we prepare big blades, then we can run a pump that pulls water from the ground. Because of this, our fields will get water, and the dry land that has been lying here for years in this area will come to an end. But for this work, there was a very big problem. To make this generator, Arian needed the most precious thing of his father, meaning the parts of his bicycle. At first, his father listens to him calmly, but as soon as the bicycle is mentioned, he starts making fun of Arian and says that all of this is just bookish talk and daydreaming. His father shouts and says, "The drought that has destroyed many generations of ours, you will fix it with this broken toy?" Hearing this, Arian feels very bad, and he answers back, "I can do all this because I went to school, and I know the things that you do not know." This sentence hurts his uneducated father. In anger, he throws Arian to the ground and breaks the model he made into pieces. He shouts, "I was wrong about you. Now enough of going to school. Now you will only do farming. Go and plow the field." His father's words hit Arian's chest like bullets. Tears start flowing from his eyes, and he starts thinking, will his whole life pass in these barren fields? But because of helplessness, he has to listen to his father. Before the sun rises, Arian reaches the field to plow, but the thirst to learn inside him was still not gone. In his free time, Arian starts repairing the neighbors' radios so that he can understand electronics deeply. Sometimes, while working at night, the noise would wake his father up, but after seeing his son's passion, he no longer scolded him. Instead, his father himself would take the radio and walk alone in the fields, trying to understand the changing weather. The situation was getting worse day by day. Sometimes there would be heavy rain for months, and sometimes the sun would be so strong that the crops would burn and turn to ashes. Corn farming was the only source of income for their house, but because of the drought, the production dropped, and all their savings were finished. Even after so much financial trouble, his father somehow arranges the money and pays Arian's first semester fee for middle school. This was a very big surprise for Arian, the father who had scolded him a few days ago. Today, that same father was sending him to school. Arian wears his new uniform and happily starts walking towards school. Whether it is sunshine or rain, Arian's love for studying does not become less. But the happiness was only for a very short time. As soon as the school bell rings, his science teacher takes Arian aside and tells him a truth. He says that if the remaining $80 fee is not submitted within 1 week, then Arian will be removed from the school. The brightness that was in Arian's eyes had now started becoming dim. In the first exam of school, his marks were very low, but Arian was not among those who give up. He decided that every evening after school, he would work extremely hard. But even here, luck was not supporting him. The light of the setting sun was not enough for him to study, and the darkness was becoming as deep as his future. His mother told him one more truth, that now they did not even have money left for kerosene oil to put in the lamp. Seeing his father working hard in the soaked fields, Arian started feeling that maybe poverty itself would block his path. But Arian's intentions were like a rock. He and his friend would go every day to the village garbage dump and search for treasure there. A big tobacco company often threw its useless things there, where Arian always found something useful. After hours of searching, this time he only found an old water pump and a dead lead-acid battery. These things could not help him in his night study. Arian returned to the village disappointed, where the village chief was holding a meeting. A tobacco company wanted to buy the remaining trees of the village at the rate of $15 per ton. The chief was shouting that these trees are the only things that protect us from floods and sandstorms. Cutting them would be like suicide. Arian's father also fully supported the chief, but some greedy villagers could only see today's money. Without worrying about tomorrow, they started signing. In no time, that forest, which was once full of hope, started echoing with the sounds of falling trees. The birds left their homes and flew away, and what was left behind was only the sobbing wind. Arian was feeling very angry, but he was helpless. To lighten the burden of his heart, he went to his friends, where everyone was listening to a football match on the radio. The match was at its peak when suddenly the radio turned off. Everyone looked at Arian with hope, because he was the radio doctor of the village. Aryan ran to his house in the darkness and light rain. He picked up all the old and useless batteries lying in the house and ran back. He connected all those dead batteries one by one in series. As soon as he turned on the radio, the commentary started echoing again. At that moment, Aryan had become a hero in the eyes of all those children. After the match ended, when he was returning home in the heavy rain, suddenly his eyes fell on his sister. She was on a date with the same science teacher who had threatened to remove Aryan from school. In their backward village, this was a very big matter of disgrace. Aryan felt that because of this, not only would his sister be mocked, but the honor of the whole family would be ruined. Aryan decided that he would teach that teacher a lesson. The next day, he and his friend made a plan to puncture the teacher's bicycle tire. But as soon as he moved forward, Aryan's steps stopped. His friend gave a different suggestion. Leave the tire. Let's steal the headlight of his bicycle. This way the teacher will also get a warning. And Aryan only needed one light to study at night. He tries to remove the light from that bicycle. But even after trying again and again, that light does not move from there at all. Then Aryan's attention goes to that wire, which was coming out of the light and going toward a small silver device attached near the wheel. Aryan tells his friend to spin the wheel hard. As the wheel spins faster and rubs against that device, a medium light turns on. This light does not only brighten that darkness, but also lights up Aryan's dying hopes. He had understood that electricity could be made even without a battery. That same night, Aryan listens to his parents talking from behind the door of his room. Because of the bad harvest, all their savings had been finished. His father was saying with a heavy heart that in order to stay alive, now Aryan's education would have to be sacrificed. The very next day at school, the principal calls Aryan in front of everyone, and because of not paying the fees, he is removed from school forever. At that moment, the shine in Aryan's eyes seemed to disappear. Along with the clouds falling from the sky, his sadness also started flowing away. Those white clouds had swallowed his dreams, and the flood had taken his desires into its grip. He kept standing like a stone statue, as if time had stopped. Now, without the trees, the rain had become even more terrifying. It had mercilessly drowned the entire field. His father, covered in mud, was digging drains in the middle of the storm so that he could save the crops. But in front of nature's wrath, human effort was helpless. The rain did stop, but now its place was taken by the burning sun. Months of scorching heat made the new corn plants lifeless. The situation was getting out of control. Aryan's father picks up his bicycle and goes many miles away to one of his friends who worked for the government. But from there too, he only receives disappointment. His friend warns him that a terrible famine is about to come across the whole country. Prepare yourself. The village chief promises to ask the president for help. But Aryan knew that sitting and depending on the government would not do anything. He decides to write his own destiny. He started spending his entire day searching for treasure in that same garbage dump. Then, after seeing an old car battery, he gets an idea. He thinks that if he connects all the dead batteries together, then a powerful battery can be made. If it is connected to that water pump, then water can be pulled from the ground and the fields can be irrigated. But to continuously charge this battery, where would the electricity come from? Now this was the biggest challenge for Aryan. Now Aryan needed answers to his questions at any cost. He secretly wears his school uniform, and avoiding the eyes of the principal, he enters the school. He goes straight to that same science teacher and asks him how that light turns on when the bicycle wheel spins. The teacher tells him that it is called a dynamo, but he cannot explain how it actually works. The teacher advises him to go to the library, but Aryan had already been removed from school. Now Aryan plays a trick. He threatens the teacher that if he does not let him go to the library, then he will tell everyone the truth about his relationship with his sister. Because of helplessness, the teacher gets him entry into the library. There, Aryan finds a book on energy, and as soon as he reads it, a new world opens in his eyes. Now Aryan's day either passed in the garbage dump, or he would look at the whirlwinds rising in the fields and try to understand how much power there is in the wind. 2 weeks later, in that area suffering from drought and poverty, the president of the country arrives. There was an atmosphere of celebration everywhere. The village chief is called onto the stage to give a speech. At first, the chief praises the president a lot. Because of that, the president becomes very happy. But suddenly, the chief changes his words. And while describing the condition of the people suffering because of the drought, he begs the president for grain. This truth hurts the president so much that he signals his bodyguards in the middle of the speech. Those cruel bodyguards drag that old chief away from the stage, and they start beating him brutally. Aryan and his father move forward to help, but then The sound of aerial firing echoes through the whole area. The president sits in his luxury car and leaves from there, and the chief remains lying on the ground in a half-dead condition. Arian's father now understood how cruel this world is, and no government will help them. Now they would have to do something themselves. The next morning, he takes his whole family to the field so that they can harvest whatever little corn is left. But their luck had not stopped abandoning them. From that barren land, so little grain came out that it could not even last 1 month. Out of helplessness, Arian's father even removes the tin roof of his house and sells it in the market so that he can buy grain. But in the market, the prices of grain were touching the sky. Meanwhile, news comes on the radio that the government is saying there is no famine in the country. After hearing this lie, Arian's father's anger bursts out. Even though his wife and daughter try to stop him, he leaves to join the protest against the government. He had no idea how heavy this decision was going to be for him. After his father leaves, Arian goes straight to the school library and tells the librarian his big plan. He says, "If I can charge a battery with a windmill, then I can run a water pump and pull water from the ground. Because of this, the drought in our village will end forever." Arian's plan was ready, but he did not have that dynamo, which was attached to the science teacher's bicycle. The librarian is stunned after seeing Arian's courage, and she tells Arian to find the teacher. But both of them did not know that the teacher had already left the school, and he was convincing Arian's sister to run away with him. Arian's sister clearly refuses. Meanwhile, Arian takes all his maps and papers and goes out to find the teacher. Then he comes face to face with the strict principal. Arian hides behind a desk out of fear, but the principal's eagle-like eyes catch him. The principal shouts at Arian badly and says, "You are stealing the education of other students and the knowledge of teachers. You have been removed from here, and now you will never be able to step into any school in this town. Pick up your things and get out." Arian kept begging. He kept crying, but the stone-hearted principal pushed him out. The librarian also defended Arian, but everything was useless. Arian was standing alone on that burning, barren land. In the dusty whirlwind, his big dreams were becoming blurry. Even the scorching sunlight could not give warmth to his frozen heart. Then his mother's shadow comes behind him, who, in this dark time, was his last hope. Seeing the growing pressure from the public, the government finally sends 2 trucks of grain to the village. The whole village runs like crazy to buy grain. Arian's mother gives the last few remaining coins in the house to Arian and sends him on his father's bicycle to get grain. But when Arian reaches there, the first truck had already become empty. The remaining people attacked the second truck like hungry wolves. The scene was so horrifying that everyone was ready to crush each other. Arian uses the advantage of his small height and somehow reaches the truck and buys 15 kilos of corn. But after seeing the scene outside, his soul trembles. The people standing outside had turned into zombies for grain. If Arian stepped outside, they would rob him. He becomes helpless and hides inside that same truck. On the other side, Arian's father, who is going for the protest, sees people on the road killing each other for every single grain of food. Suddenly, he starts worrying about his home, his wife, and his children. He immediately tells the driver to turn the vehicle around. But by then, it was already too late. The hungry villagers had attacked Arian's house. They not only snatched the grain from his sister's hands, but also looted the corn they had recently harvested. Arian's mother was sitting on the ground, crying helplessly. Now, that 15 kilos of corn was the last hope of that family. Arian's father counts his remaining savings. Even after selling everything, they could only eat 1 meal a day. His mother decides that they will only cook dinner. Then, an argument starts in the house over food. The mother believed that dinner was necessary, but Arian says that we should have breakfast in the morning. Otherwise, where will we get the strength to work all day? Meanwhile, Arian's sister had completely lost her patience. In anger, she starts shouting and blaming her father. She says if father had never joined the protest, then today we would not be living in fear for our lives and our honor. Hearing this, her mother angrily slaps her. Then she says, "Your father is trying to save us. Do you really think I will let my children die from hunger? The day I am forced to sacrifice my own body just to feed you, that day you will understand what a mother's love truly means." After hearing her mother's words, tears start falling from the sister's eyes. She finally understands that no matter how cruel the world becomes, a parent's love never changes. But the real famine had only just begun. Arian tries to catch birds in the fields, but not a single bird can be seen anywhere. Feeling completely helpless, Arian goes to his sister one night. He tells her that if she asks the science teacher for the dynamo, then his project can finally be completed. Seeing the passion in Arian's eyes, his sister falls into deep thought. The next day, when Arian returns home after cutting wood, he sees that his mother is sitting outside and crying, and his father is walking around like a madman. It is revealed that his sister has run away with that science teacher. She did this so that there would be one less mouth to feed in the house, and the burden on the family could become lighter. She had left behind only one letter, in which it was written that no one should look for her. When Arian goes to his sister's room with a sad heart, he sees that the dynamo he had been dreaming of for years is lying on her old table. Seeing this great sacrifice from his sister, Arian's heart becomes full. Meanwhile, his mother angrily takes Arian to the school and accuses the principal that their teacher has run away with her daughter. Accepting his mistake, the principal's attitude becomes softer. He promises that the school will fully help in finding that teacher, and along with that, he gives Arian open permission to go into the library. Now Arian steps into the library without any fear. Every book there now seemed like a light of hope to him. The old librarian had already left, but that battery was still kept on the table which she had repaired for Arian. Arian gathers all the necessary books and explains his plan to his friends. Some called it impossible, but most of them believed in him. No one had anything left to lose. That is why everyone gets to work. Someone was making blades, someone was cleaning copper wires, and Arian was connecting the circuit. Everyone's hard work paid off, and a small windmill was standing in front of them. As soon as they opened the door, strong winds came inside, and that fan started spinning. As the fan became faster, the radio kept nearby started playing. Everyone started dancing with happiness, but only Arian knew that the destination was still very far away. Still, a new life had now come into his friends. Now Arian and his friends were searching day and night for necessary things in that garbage dump. By sunset, they would return with a lot of material, but there was one very big shortage. They did not have that gear through which the big windmill could work, and that gear could be found from only one thing, from his father's only and most precious bicycle. Arian gathers courage and shows his small invention to his father and tells him his big plan. But as soon as his father hears about breaking the bicycle, he loses control in anger. He sets Arian's months of hard work and his model on fire. Seeing this, Arian's friends also break down, and they start preparing to leave the village to escape the famine. But there was a shortage of grain in the whole country. Even if they left, where would they go? In the end, after Arian's encouragement, they all decide that they will forcibly take the bicycle from Arian's father. All of them surround his father together, but as soon as his father lifts his plow into the air, everyone runs away in fear. Only Arian remains there, looking helplessly at his father. The sun was burning the ground, and the flying dust was telling the bitter truth of life. The path where children once used to go to school laughing, today fresh graves had been made there. Even Arian's loyal dog dies because of hunger. There was now only silence and hopelessness in Arian's heart. Seeing her son in this condition, Arian's mother loses her patience. She shouts badly at her husband and lets out all of her frustration. Her words awakened the father sleeping inside that stubborn man. He realized that happiness would not rain down from the sky. They would have to change their destiny themselves. The father rides the bicycle and reaches Arian. He apologizes to him for his foolishness and stubbornness, but Arian says that he never thought of him as wrong, because only because of his hard work, he was able to see school. There were tears in both of their eyes, and the distance of years had disappeared. The father and son together start separating every part of that bicycle. Now the whole village had come together. Arian gets to work. His father cuts wood to make the structure of the windmill, and in no time, with the help of the villagers, a huge tower stands up. Everyone together pulls that heavy structure upward with a rope. A pipe was inserted into the deep borehole, and that windmill was fitted above it. Arian connected the electric wires with trembling hands and opened the rope that was tying the blades. As soon as the gust of wind touched those blades, they started spinning fast. They were not just blades, they were the hopes of the whole village waving in the air. Electricity was produced by the friction of the dynamo, and through the wire, it reached the water pump installed below. The villagers were waiting after digging trenches and drains. Then, a sound was heard that stopped everyone's heartbeat. The first fountain of water came out of the pipe. As soon as those drops of water fell on the barren land, his father hugged Arian. The tears in his eyes were now tears of happiness. Arian had proved that if the determination is strong, then life can be changed even with gusts of wind. Those sprays of water were not only wetting the barren land, they were also bringing the dying hopes of the people back to life. In the old eyes of Arian's father, the pride for his son was clearly visible, which could not be described in words. Slowly, time changed, the weather changed, and in those deserted fields, a wave of greenery ran once again. Where once only dust used to fly, now, new corn crops were waving there. This one invention of Arian did not only bring him out of the mouth of death, but also got him admission into the city's best high school with a full scholarship. Arian's hard work did not stop here. He earned a degree in environmental science from Dartmouth College in America. So this was the story of this film. If you liked this explanation, then do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also press the bell icon so that you do not miss the update of the next explosive movie. We will meet you in the next video. Until then,